All right, so I've got a few things that I've been working on, and they also happen to be some things that y'all said you wanted to see. Hey Laura. One of them, so I posted a poll last week asking what people wanted to see, and one of the things y'all wanted to see was Peekaboo. So I'm gonna wash my face out with this light here, but it's all so you can see the cup. So hello Lauren. So this is the cup that I'm going to use for my Peekaboo. It's one of the twisted bottom cups. I think I bought it like a year and a half ago off of like Amazon before I knew you could buy like legitimately good cups from people. So I glittered it, and then it's been sitting on a shelf for forever. So I decided I would use it to make a Peekaboo. So how I do the Peekaboos is you just decide whatever you want your base to be. So for me, it's glitter, but you could do a solid spray paint or an ombre. You could do alcohol inks. You can pretty much do whatever you want to. And then epoxy. Let it cure. And then you want to make sure that you get it as smooth as possible. Because 9 times out of 10 you're going to be spray painting over it, and if you don't have a real smooth surface, it'll look really lumpy and bumpy, and unless that's the look you're going for, you don't want to have to strip or go back a few processes. So I have printed out and cut out my little decals that I'm going to put. So they're not the easiest to see. I don't actually use my regular good vinyl when I do Peekaboos because we're just going to peel it up. So I actually use contact paper. So this is some contact paper that I had bought from Walmart, and I like it because it's also easy to peel up. And the other thing I like about it is if I put them on and then I forget, I walk away, life happens, and I forget to peel my decals off right away, I don't run into issues later on with getting them off like you do with the other oracles, because they're going to cure and attach to the epoxy. So this is, like for example, the roll of contact paper. Definitely recommend doing a test cut. It's a lot thinner than your regular vinyls. So actually, oh, I do want this back. So then I'm just gonna start placing my vinyls. I'm gonna bring you down so maybe you can see a little bit better. So then I'm just gonna take my vinyl and place it on here. Well, I keep saying vinyl, it's not vinyl, but my picture. And also the backing peels off real easily. So, it's on here. Let's see. And I want my dead mermaid to go, I think right here. And you still want to press and work it on really well. Make sure you get kind of a good seal on it. Otherwise, your paint will leak behind it and you won't get real crisp lines. So there she is. Isn't she pretty? And then I can tilt you up a little bit. And then I've got a few mermaid scales I was going to place around just randomly. So let's see, do there. You hear my turner needs a little bit of grease. So then there, let's see. And when I'm placing stuff randomly like this, I'm sure a lot of you have seen like the queen bee honeycomb cups. A lot of times if placing stuff randomly, I'm just looking for where's the prettiest areas of my glitter to show through. What's my favorite colors, or if I've got one area that's got like a really good ombre or something like that on it, I'll want to show that off. So I'll make sure to place my stickers over that part. Gosh, excuse me again. So here's what she looks like right now. And for me, I'm leaving a large area right here because I'm gonna put a decal over it. I'm not sure which one I'm gonna put yet, but so I want to leave an area there. Hey Amber. All right, so I'm gonna pick you back up. Okay. So again, after you've got your, oh, thanks Laura. So after you've got everything placed, you want to go over again and just really make sure that you've pushed down all of the edges. And once you're good, I'm gonna do alcohol inks over this, so I'm going to spray paint it with a white base. You could just do a blue or a solid color spray paint if your spray painting game is better than mine, which it doesn't take much to be better than mine. But I normally will do white primer, paint in one, and then do inks. So the one I use, just Rust-Oleum from your Walmart or your local hardware store. I'm almost out. It's raining outside, so I'm gonna spray paint my trash can in here. Don't tell my husband, he gets real mad. But the key, of course, like with anything else, make sure it's shaken up really well, and then thin spurts and layers. Even if you have pressed your decals really well, if you oversaturate it with the paint, it can still cause your decals to lift a little bit, and then you won't get super crisp lines, especially on finer things like that. And stuff like this, it's easier to go back with like acetone and clean up if you need to remove a little bit more of the spray paint. But like these real fine lines of the decal are hard. So I'm just going to step over to the side and paint this real quick. I'll be right back. All right, so there's with my spray paint. So I don't need it to be super opaque white, because I'm gonna go back and do inks. If I wanted this pure white, I would just go through, do a light coat, let it dry, and then do another coat before I peel the decals, if I needed it to be real solid and smooth. But again, I try to avoid that. So as you can see, it's not so super saturated that you can't see the decals, so that they're real hard to peel or anything. Hello, Stacy. So Stacy, just so you know where we are on this one, this was a glitter and epoxied tumbler. So I glittered it, I epoxied it, let it cure, sanded it down real smooth, and then I printed out my decals on just contact paper. Pressed them on so they were real tight, and I just spray painted it a light coat. So in the interest of time, I am going to put this on my turner and hit it with my heat lamp so that I can go ahead and pull this one for y'all too. Normally I would just let it sit for about an hour. So, you're welcome, Stacy. But since we're doing a live to pull one, so I'm just going to toss it on here. My squeaky turner. Alright. And while I'm back here, I'm going to lube up my turner. All right, so while that's happening, I'm going to show you this. So I do some silhouette tumblers. So this is my Harry Potter. And then I also do a Nightmare Before Christmas. That's Halloween Town. I really like stuff like this. I think it's a little bit different, but it's pretty much the same process as your Peekaboo. I cut out my decal, stuck it on, and then in the back for my line, because I have the pieces that came out to about here, then I just used electrical tape, and then I wrap the bottom. And I use, a lot of people will just use grocery bags and tape them on. I picked up some of this like packaging cellophane stuff from Walmart, and I use this for lots of stuff now. But one of the things that I use it for is to wrap cups. So I had my decal here and my tape here, and then I just wrapped it around the bottom. Like that. No need to tape, and it won't get spray paint on it. And then once it dries, just take it off. This stuff also works great in a pinch, or if you just don't like wasting entire latex gloves, if you use your fingers to apply epoxy. I just take it, and you'll see me do it later because I don't currently have any gloves. So I'll just take it and do it around the one finger, or some people use two to epoxy, so I can just wrap it around my single finger. And this thing has lasted me a long time. It was about that big round, I'd say. Yeah, a lot of the stuff that I do is stuff that I just stumbled upon because I came down here late at night and went, oh crap, I'm out of gloves. What do I have? I already mixed my epoxy. Are you laughing at me back there?
No.
Oh, okay. Okay, so need to find my alcohol inks. I didn't pull them out. Right. So just like on the other one, on this one I'm gonna do some alcohol inks, and that is what I normally do on my Peekaboos. So I've got my really dirty case of alcohol inks. So on this one, I am going to use some pinks and purples. So, gosh, mine are so messy, I don't even know if I can show you the color. I don't know, it's a pink. That might be the same as this one. It might be Wild Plum. Oh, Emily, this I ordered it off of Amazon. The trays come out and they prop up and down. They also work really great because I have some of these little metallic acrylics that I bought a set of that I like to mix in with epoxy from time to time, and they're the same size. Just make sure that you put the lids on all the way. As you can see, I did not do that one time and it got all over the place. Alright, and then I think this is eggplant and purple twilight. A random top in there. I don't remember what it was called. I can look back through my purchases later, and if I find it, I mean, it's in there, but whenever I find it, I'll try to remember to post it or tag you. You write it down so I don't forget. Yeah, Meg, I'll post a link for it when I find it. Yeah, I've seen them other places. One of them might have been on Etsy. I think one of my friends that's also crafty saw it and on like a Facebook ad or something and tagged me in it, and so I immediately went and purchased it. It also works good if you're one of those super organized people that will like coordinate or like organize them by color, because you know you can print out those alcohol ink cards and put a swatch on them. I've seen where people tape them on the inside to match this, but it's by Art Bin. Like I said, I'll go through and I'll try to find it. Oh, I didn't know Britches and Bows carries them too. Cool. They're everywhere, apparently, if you just know to look for them. Yes. Yes, Stacy. Believe that was the description for it. Satchel bottle storage container. Cool. Thanks, everyone. And for my inks with Peekaboo, I really just use paper towels. I started off buying like the fancy little cotton swab things, and I don't have a Michael's or an art supply store, and I was already buying paper towels and they're way cheaper. So I started doing that, and I just take little pieces and fold them. A lot of people will say, hey, you definitely want to wear gloves using alcohol inks. I don't like wearing gloves just because it's one more thing I have to throw away. But also, I'm kind of tactile, so I like being able to feel what I'm doing. So I feel like I have more control. And when I've used gloves before, alcohol ink doesn't dry as quickly on them. So I've had some where I was very strategically putting certain colors of ink, and there was still, like, I was doing a lighter area, and I had some of the darker inks on the glove, and I went and touched it, and then it got messed up. I had to wipe it with regular alcohol. So for this style, what I'm going to do, because I'm going to have it more blended into like a horizon of the skyline, I'm going to apply my inks onto there and then just start dabbing away. I never get to fussy about it at the beginning because I know I'm going to go over these ink colors over and over again to get the effect that I'm looking for. Not too much longer. So I always kind of go over my cup when I'm doing alcohol inks, and basically just try to get one coat of color over the entire thing, so that it starts the blending process when you add the subsequent inks. So then when I'm done with that color, get a brand new one. This time I'm going to start from the top again. I'm mainly wanting to get that base background for blending. Welcome back, Amber. Quiet. Sorry, someone made a bumping noise and my dog's panicked. So, right there. Now I'm going to start going back and doing my blending. Thanks. So after that, I'm going to go through, and this is where I think it gets real fun. Do a little bit of the pink, then a little bit of the purple. And when I'm doing that blending area, I'm trying to work with both of them together while they're still wet before they dry. And that's how I get more of the thank you. Hi, Barbara. I'm just doing some inks on my silhouette Peekaboo while we wait for the other one to the paint to dry. So I'll go through and blend it like that. I'll work the middle the most, and while I'm blending, get the texture and the look that I want. So whether you want a bunch of dots or you want it to be smoother, and then I'll go back down to the bottom. So one of the things that I do like to do, and I like to point out to people, is you don't actually have to buy every single color alcohol ink. You can work with what you got. So you can mix it, mix different colors together, but you can also play with the color. So this is just regular alcohol. So like I don't have a whole lot of really light colored alcohol inks. I did start out with some, but I have used them all. So just take it and however you want to get some on there. And then if you go over the inks, the more you go over it, the lighter that it will become. So see, right there and right there, it's the exact same color alcohol ink. I've just put the alcohol on there to lighten it. And then just every so often you need to use a new place. Otherwise you'll just get to a point where you're just moving the alcohol inks around. And then you can also use it for some of your blending areas, just using the regular alcohol. Right. So almost got this one where I like it, and then we'll go back to the mermaid one. Let me use some, I don't know why I shook that. Use some different purple too up here. Nope, Barbara, I have never used blending solution. I talked to other people that said they've used it, and they said that you might as well just use alcohol. Anything that I can not have to purchase but still do something similar, I always do that. So yeah, I've never tried it though, so it could be like a game changer. I've just never tried it personally. I'm gonna use a little of the alcohol to blend in some of this purple and pink on the back. All right, so what do we think? Okay. So that one's done. I'll let that sit, and then I'll come back and I'll kind of clean up where my alcohol ink went over. Thank you. Went over some of where the glitter is. I'll just clean it up a little bit. And then I've got a small decal that is going on the back and some holographic vinyl. And so it's going to go on the back. And then it will be ready for epoxy tonight. All right, so here is a Mermaid one. Oh, thanks, Amber. That's actually, or this is actually the first 20 ounce and the first skinny that I've done like that. Normally do the 30 ounces, so the image is larger, so I had to tweak the SVG that I made for it, because I didn't want to lose a bunch of detail because it was smaller. But they're real fun to make. I normally will do black glitter underneath it, black holographic glitter, but I've also done it just with flat black glitter. Yeah, the one that everybody grabs about looks like tar, things like that. I'll use those though sometimes, and then just put like a hint of bling or sparkle in the top coat. Hello, Mona. You're just in time to see me pull the decals and hear my dogs whimpering in the background. It's pretty dry all the way around. The main thing that I will say when you're pulling it, and I use a dental tool for all of my weeding, don't try to pull from the edge, try to pull from the middle. Because if your hand slips or if you're not quite getting it, you'll end up with these nice crisp lines except for little nicks certain places, which depending on where or what effect you're doing on the top, or color inks or things like that, may or may not be noticeable. So I'm just gonna start pulling and hope that y'all can see it all right. You see, I pulled from the middle straight up. I know there's a big, I wouldn't call it a controversy, but a back and forth on For Peekaboos, do you pull when it's still wet? Do you pull when it's all the way dry? I honestly like mine a little bit in between. I want it to be dry enough where I can touch it and I can set it on my little ghetto cup thing that I made. Oh, thanks. But I don't want it too dry. I don't want it, like, I guess it's not really, is paint cured? Spray paint cured? Everything cured. I don't want it as dry as you would want it for other projects and styles. Just because if you do have thicker layers, then you may get some chipping. But doing it this way where it's almost all the way dry, I've never had big paint chips come off or anything. Right. So got the scales off. I'm gonna peel off this thing. Voila! It really is quite satisfying. Hello, Ryan. So now you can see our design. Get an idea of how it's going to look. So again, if something happens and you've got bigger areas that you're pulling up and some paint got in there, oh, thanks, Ren. I just Google image searched skeleton mermaid, and then I screenshot it and then created an SVG from that because I'm finally going to have my own mermaid cup. I've been protesting mermaid cups ever since the giant mermaid Facebook debacle of 2018, I guess maybe it was, when that one woman promoted, you are? Oh yeah. Do y'all remember the woman? She promoted her her cup on Facebook, and I think it was the Heart of a Mermaid, Mouth of a Sailor. Real pretty cup, but oh my gosh, it was like the internet exploded, and every cup maker I knew was getting a million billion requests. Hi, Faith. Requests for it. The very first cups I ever made were the mermaid, full mermaid scale wrap, conical wraps, glitter between the scales and everything, and I hated them. So when I got messages for that woman's cup, also I don't love exactly duplicating people's work anyway. I pretty much declined anybody that came to me. with those. But this type of mermaid cup, I'm all for doing. Yes, like the George Strait cup. I don't know if any of y'all started getting all of the Mama Mouse, Minnie Mouse requests several months ago. I started getting a bunch of them too. Yes, the heifer cups. I did create I finally broke down and created my own heifer images. They're in the group too, if y'all go into the files. I did finally break down and make some. I haven't actually gotten an order for any, but I felt like making the designs. And it's 100% me and purchased art from a subscription-based service that I have. I have it through work, and we have commercial licenses and everything like that for it. So if you want to use the heifers, I like my shaggy heifer that I have the best. But if y'all want to use mine, you're more than welcome to, free of charge. They're in the group. Oh, you got a bunch of them? Yeah. I haven't got a one. Thankfully. I mean, I get it. It's clever. It was clever the first time I saw it. But I did make some. It's always interesting to me, the cups that kind of go viral. So I'm going to let this sit and dry a bit longer before I start putting inks on it.